Allegiance. Why don't you say the pledge of allegiance?
Absolutely, thank you, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Carmen, can you please let roll call, all of our trustees present here, and I believe on Zoom as well, correct, Jesse?
No, there's no attendees via Zoom, simply running the Zoom meeting to record the proceedings this evening.
Very, very good, and also any department head, thank you. All right, we will go next to the minutes. I'm looking for a motion and a second for the approval of the August 7th, 2023 village board meeting and file the July 10th, 2023 Board of Public Works, the July 11th, 2023 Public Safety Committee, the July 12th, 2023 Architectural Review Board, July 17th, 2023 Finance Committee meetings minutes as presented.
Also moved.
I'll second.
A motion and a second, as always. Any discussion, corrections, attention we need to these minutes? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Is there anybody here who wishes to be heard on a non-agenda item? Going once. All right, going twice, and we will move on to business presented by the president. At this point in time, I do not have anything that is not listed on the agenda. Going to number 6, resolution ordinance action item, review and discussion of citizen committee member information being posted online. Jesse, if you could just get us started on this. I know it's not a formal staff item, but we can go through and see if we need any more discussion on this or any update.
Certainly. Just a continuation of the request regarding the topic at hand of the best way to list and provide contact information utilizing the village website. The village, looking into it, the village attorney did note some concerns with establishing group email addresses, as it can very easily lead to a violation of open meetings law through a simple reply all or reply action if it's a group email. Moreover, staff would have to be included in the email group, which is a redundancy of the longstanding practice of staff providing copies and or reporting concerns that have been received to the committee members at the meeting. There are a couple of options that exist, one of which staff proactively went ahead and implemented. Looking at the village's website, boards, committees, commissions page, and I'll just grab Board of Public Works as a quick example. We went ahead and linked the trustees, as their contact information is already available on the web page. We linked that. We also added a new staff liaison contact directly on that committee page. We did this for applicable committees. For example, Plan Commission, I know that is one committee that, or a commission that receives feedback. So therefore we have the elected officials identified or linked, as well as staff liaisons and so forth. We went ahead and implemented that. Similarly, a direct email link for the trustee committee members as well. At this point, I would turn it over to President Delort, as I know there was feedback solicited from citizen committee members.
Yes, as attached here, and it did inform the trustees here that I did a very simple survey monkey that went to all non-elected committee members. And I think there's some good information here in that we asked 5 questions, and as a committee member, do you have enough information from your director of department that assigned to your committee to address public concerns? 92% said yes, 8% said no. In your opinion, do you believe the village has a good process to address concerns of its constituents? The committee members believe 100% they did. And we then asked a question, what would you be willing to do to share information on our public website, such as personal contact, we showed that 78% of the respondents said that they would prefer not to share email correspondence or telephone correspondence Yeah, we've got some people out there, 15% would be willing to share email, 7% would be responsible for sharing phone. If we could design a community mailbox for your committees that would allow transmittal of constituent information, your personal email address, would you believe this would aid? 77% said yes. And would a trend of concerns, kudos, constituent concerns, as part of a monthly reporting be helpful to your committee? And they said 77%. And that's clearly a way that we are going to be heading moving forward. We just need a little time to put together a process such as, I think you had spoken about that we might have, what was that, Click Fix?
We're actually exploring two different options right now. This is a little bit off of this path, but very quickly. Staff is exploring two options. One, an outside vendor, C-Click Fix is an application whereby folks can online submit a concern, a question, and it is routed to the appropriate party, and it's a tracking system. We are also looking at basically building out our existing GIS, geographic information system, that we use right now for brush pickup scheduling, basically building that out for all other citizen requests. What that does is it ties directly into our system as far as a location, and we can add a tracking mechanism to it as far as notifying the appropriate staff, but then also notifying the submitter, the individual who submitted the claim, if you will, of the action taken. So we're actually exploring two options right now with the goal of first quarter next year going live with one of the two. So that's where we're at right now.
So to do a better job of being able, not necessarily a better job, but to improve the efficiency of having constituents be able to notify us with concerns or items that they see that need attention.
Efficiency and tracking. Yep.
Yep. So, that's basically the work that we've done in the last 2 weeks. There's really no action item on here. I just would like to get a consensus from the board on if this is the right way we're headed. Are we addressing the concerns that were initially brought up to the board? Mary Pat, let's start with you.
I like what you did with the website in that you linked the trustees. Fantastic. I'm comfortable with the way it is. I like that addition. And I think it will be nice to see what your
C-Click Fix is the
Fix.
third-party vendor name of a outside app.
But I think we've addressed it. You've put in the village contact as well as the trustee link. So I'm comfortable with where we have it.
Thank you, Trustee Miller.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, did all committee members in every department, non-board members, did they get this Survey Monkey?
As far as I know, yes.
It was compiled by the clerk and sent it out to their email addresses.
Okay, I mean, I'm on board with it for the most part.
Thank you. Trustee Luke.
I like what you've done, Jesse, but my question is, I think there's 3 committees where there isn't the trustee listed. Do they have a liaison personnel listed? Zoning
Board of Review,
and board
staff
of review
liaison,
and fire and police commission.
Yep.
So how would they be contact on those?
Fire and Police Commission. Or that's Plan Commission, pardon me, clicked the wrong link. Police Fire Commission. I can add myself as a staff liaison. That can be done, not a problem. And I'm sorry, you mentioned one other trustee left.
Zoning.
Zoning,
Yeah, the zoning board of appeals, and I can certainly be listed there.
we can update that.
We could add that, and I'm happy with it.
Trustee Evans.
Like Amy just mentioned, I appreciate what, and I think Mary Pat did as well. I appreciate what you all have put together as staff so far, Jesse. My one recommendation might be to add to that with some language that explicitly invites citizens who have concerns with a particular thing to reach out to the staff liaisons, just so that it's clear that your first point of contact should be to the staff, who can then convey your concerns to the entire committee.
Can do.
Last but not least, Trustee Harga.
So this is absolutely a good start. I don't get a ton of phone calls or a ton of emails. Not sure if everybody else does.
You're lucky.
Wow, okay. So that says something right there. You know, very few times do I get a phone call or an email? Maybe there's a mistake in that. I like that there's at least 15% of people that do say that they would be fine with putting their email on the website. I think that if they're open to that, we should consider that and ask them if they would like that. I am concerned that we as a board, you as president, has chosen committee members to sit on the committees who make decisions in our community. And for whatever reason, they don't want to speak to or get an email from a citizen. That's concerning to me, especially on the planning commission. I trust that Jessica would certainly pass the email on. But again, it's an interesting factor that there's a divide, I guess, between the citizens and the actual people who are making the decisions.
A perceived divide.
Yeah, I would ask that if there are 15% of the people that would be willing to share the email, I would ask that we reach out to them. I do still think that we should try to look into something as a group email. I mean, this is a work in progress, absolutely. Again, if there are other committee members who would feel more comfortable getting an email from Jessica, I guess that's fine. I don't necessarily agree with that.
No, thank you. I think our consensus here is that we've got something that's working fairly well here. I think that we can look at, and certainly I'm willing as a village president and trustee to look at any future appointees to ask them if they want to have their email listed. We certainly can go forward with that. And as we do reappointments on people who term expire or wish to do that, we can certainly ask them if they wish to do that.
How about current?
As I said, I think there's consensus here that we're comfortable with the situation. So I think we'll move forward with that.
And I might ask, and I might ask.
Comment at this time,
Why not?
Mr. Harbeck.
Why not? I mean, I have been speaking on this before. Why don't
You can't speak on behalf of your board. You can speak on behalf of yourself.
That's exactly what I'm asking.
Well, you didn't the other day, but if you wish to do that, you can.
That's, I wouldn't speak on behalf of the board. I'm not a
You
board
did,
member.
sir.
So, one, I didn't get a survey. So that makes me question the thoroughness of the survey.
You did make your point though the other night, did you not?
I did, but it's not included in the survey result. My point is, I didn't get a survey, so the results are not completely reflective. I don't know why. It probably slipped through the cracks, but I didn't get one. Second, I think the most important answer in the survey is being ignored by the direction you're currently going, and that's number 4. Because 77% of the committee members said they would support a community mailbox that would allow transmittal of emails to their personal email. So there are 77% who said, I don't have a problem with getting an email to myself. With respect to the concern about open meetings violations, you've got the same thing going on with the village board. You know, somebody sends an email to the village board, somebody replies all, you're in the thick of it possibly. So you guys are told, don't do that, don't reply all. That's all you have to do with the committee members to train them. The final thing is, I think that having access to people who are making decisions as a village committee as a whole, that affect the community as a whole, as part of the democratic process, people should have access to those people. Right now, they can't. There are roadblocks and there are obstacles. So it's my position, you should make it easier for citizens to get a hold of people on committees. And maybe not all the committees. I've thought about this. Plan Commission would certainly be one. Park and Rec would be one because they're making decisions.
Okay. So to get your point, thank you very much for your comment on that. Mike, I think you had a comment about
The point is well taken on reply all. I didn't fully understand the technology and how if a person gets an email that may have been maybe received by other people and you don't realize who's all on the email and you're replying and maybe you're unwittingly, committing a violation. That was one of my concerns, but that could be solved. If it's only one-way communication, there's no issue. And it sounds like you're working through solutions.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my point too.
All right.
On the group meeting.
So we have consensus on here that we're headed in the right direction. I think we can probably take a look at this in a couple of months. Take a look at this. And I apologize you didn't get a chance to speak on the survey. I have no idea why that happened.
Yeah, I'm not faulting anybody. It's just, I just didn't get it.
Thank you very much. Okay, there was no action required on that. We'll just kind of move on to B, revision of seasons at Grafton Pre-annexation and Development Agreement reflect the updated limited liability corporation. Jesse?
Absolutely. A simple housekeeping item, which is why an IFC was not attached to it, is literally updating one of the LLCs on the agreement, as they updated their name. So the highlighted, line on the last page of the agreement, that is the, revision as proposed. And again, it is a housekeeping item as the LLC simply updated their names. It is not a, change in any terms or, requirements within the document. It is just updating the name of the LLC.
Okay. Very good. We'll take a quick look at this. So we need a motion and a second to, or do we need a sort of, it's not a resolution, correct? We don't need an offer.
Nope, no offer, simply a motion and a second.
A motion and a second to approve this.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion of this? No discussion. All in favor, say aye. Thank you. That motion carries.
I'm opposed. Sorry,
You're what?
opposed. I'm opposed.
Please let it be known. Carmen, on opposition. All right, going on to letter C, report Public Safety Committee verbal report. Jesse, with that?
Yes, there was a citizen email received, and it was requested to be placed on the agenda for presentation this evening.
I believe it's trustee Luke.
All right, and this was received on August 13th, I think it was. Says, good morning, Chief. I am David McQuinn, a resident of Grafton. My house is located at 1816 Falls Road in the middle of the hill. It's a 25-mile-per-hour limit. And over the last several months, speeds have been getting higher and higher, way into the 40+ range. I have kids and the neighborhood has several kids. My wife and I were at dinner the other night, but my son was texting us often. His texts were of members of your team having pulled drivers over, presumably for speeding. My understanding is that 5 drivers were caught. Your team was also present Saturday morning. Please know that I, along with several of my immediate neighbors, appreciate the time and attention your team spends on Falls Road. We're aware that there are other hot spots in need of attention, but we really like it when the team is on our road. Thank you for having and promoting a quality team. I'm subscribed to Facebook page too and appreciate the information shared on that platform. I am really like also the military designation on one of the vehicles too. Great idea. Thanks again, Chief, and keep up the good work. And it's signed David McQuinn, 1816 Falls Road, Grafton. So thank you for sharing that, Chief. We need to hear all the good comments, not just the negative things. So thank you for bringing that to our attention.
And in light with that too, I happened to run into State Senator Dewey Stroll the other day, and he wanted me to let me know that you evidently were at a conference with him regarding Section 51 and some of the challenges our local police departments are having. He said, boy, you've got to keep her there. He said he's really knowledgeable and he helped me to understand what I needed to understand to see if there's something we can do to help support our local police departments and assisting them with this very challenging prospect. So kudos to you, Chief. Thank you very much. Okay, on to D, report of Finance Committee. Jesse, approved the resolution amending the 2023 general fund budget.
Yes, this is a housekeeping item, if you will. It's a resolution, so it will require an offer, motion, and a second. But what this resolution looks to do, we do this on an annual basis. When we craft the annual budget, we set aside funding in a wage reserve account. What this resolution will do, transfer money out of that wage reserve account to make each of the individual departments whole for their wage adjustments carried out on behalf of their staff. COLA, longevity, merit. What this does is true up the department line items coming out of an established wage reserve fund. It is an accounting measure to, again, make each department whole with those wage related transactions. And therefore, the resolution is before the village board this evening.
Okay, pretty much straightforward, just discussed at Finance Committee. Most of us are in attendance for that. I'll need an offer, a motion, in a second.
I'll offer.
Motion,
I'll second.
We have an offer, motion and second, any discussion on this?
I have a confirmation question.
Please.
We do have money left over in that fund. We're not taking all of it.
Correct, there is a balance left over. Mhm.
Excellent point. Offer, motion and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. On to the next item here too, motion to authorize change in pay structure as recommended by the clerk department, increasing the flow to the $10 per hour commencing January 1st of 2024.
Absolutely. In an effort to update our pay schedule for election inspectors and the other various levels of poll and election workers, Clerk Olson and Director Studahar worked in researching communities throughout Ozaki and came forward with a proposal. After a discussion at finance, there were amendments to the proposal being presented. For that, I would turn over to Paul to speak to those specific updates with regards to what is being proposed to adjust the wage structure for our election workers.
Sure. The request that was made by the committee was to have the base election inspector make $10 an hour. So Katie and I reviewed that. Because of that, we upped a few of the other positions by like $5, $10 for the day, just again to have a gap like we had before. So the impact of that was, there is an attachment provided with the packet, but the impact of the changes was $1,220 for budget year 2024. By increasing everyone up a little bit between roughly $10 an hour to, I guess maybe like $20 an hour for elections, chief election inspector.
Okay, we'll need a motion to recommend village board authorize change in pay structure as recommended by clerk's department commencing on January 1, 2024.
make the motion.
I'll second.
The motion and the second, any discussion at all?
Can I just
Lisa?
ask one question? So that means the minimum pay will be $10 an hour.
Correct.
Perfect, because it says close to
Yep,
$10.
it's we're basing them on shifts, so the eight-hour shift would be paid $80.
Great, thank you.
Very good. Any further discussion on this? All in favor, say aye. That motion carries. All right. So to the next item here, which would be report Board of Public Works, accept the proposal from municipal well and pump Waupun, Wisconsin for well pumping equipment and drill hole rehabilitation at well 6 for a contract cost not to exceed $88,369.
Certainly, coming out of Board of Public Works is a recommendation to approve this project at a cost not to exceed $88,369. Was bid out. This is a rehabilitation process that is required each decade for each of our municipal wells. It happens to be well number six's turn, if you will. And this was discussed in detail at the Board of Public Works meeting and forwarded with a unanimous recommendation.
All right, so we need a motion to recommend the village board to accept the proposal from municipal well and pump Waupun, Wisconsin for well pumping equipment and drill hole rehabilitation at well number 6 for a contract cost not to exceed $88,369.
So moved.
Second,
We have a motion and second. Any discussion on this?
I have a question. Jesse, you were at the meeting and I believe we talked about, they're gonna look at that steel shaft, is that right? And
Correct.
then let us know if they needed to replace that.
Yes, actually, this $88,369 does include if the stainless steel shaft inside of the well needs to be replaced. They are hopeful, being stainless steel and replaced fairly reasonably within a fairly reasonable time frame. We may be able to reuse that or continue using the stainless steel shaft that's in place. So there's a good possibility this project may come in lower than the $88,369 requested. But if they do have to replace that shaft, this amount covers that change.
Thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. Go to a motion to recommend the village board approve change order 1 for Cedar Drive reconstruction project and amount not to exceed $18,900. Jesse, let's talk a little bit about that one, please.
Absolutely. Quick background on this. Our engineering technician, Steve Block, was out in the field to verify elevations that were staked by the contracted engineer, JT Engineering, for the placement of the concrete curbing. on the very north end of Cedar Drive and then the southern end of Cedar Drive. While doing field verification, he found that these elevations were frankly way too high. The curb, if it were to be poured at that elevation that JT placed or indicated, would be too high, causing a significant amount of restoration work. It would not tie into the existing properties and existing driveways as neatly as it would or it should. So therefore, Steve notified me. We were in turn had a conversation with JT Engineering and explaining, frankly, that they goofed with their elevations and surveying, and said, we need you to remedy this. You are the design engineer, you need to remedy this. So their solution was to lower the grade of the curb work, but that required excavation of road base that had already been in place by Dorner Construction. Therefore, a $18,900 change order is coming through. Now, being upfront about this, this is after the fact. All of this took place in the confines of the We Energies gas company coming on site and leaving, causing a bit of a delay. Amber, Director Thomas coming online with us, being a return to work, then unfortunately had to quickly leave. So there's a transition in there. The contractor was able to get in. So the work was authorized, it needed to be done, and the curb work was dropped and installed. That said, making sure to come through the process in the proper fashion as far as getting Board of Public Works and Village Board approval of the change order. It is coming through that system right now. And quite frankly, as a follow-up to the road program this year, I've already had conversations with Director Thomas about this. We will be going back to JT Engineering for some form of credit and or payment of this change order. So those discussions will be had as we progress through the remainder of the construction season, with Amber coming back online to assist me with those discussions.
Okay, so we'll need a motion to approve change order 1 to the Cedar Drive reconstruction project in an amount not to exceed $18,900.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion on this? I will ask a question. Jesse, when we talk to the construction company about this, or the engineering company about this, are we prepared to also ask for the amount of time that staff had to spend trying to resolve the situation, that we should expect maybe something a little bit more than this?
We can absolutely include that in the conversation. I anticipate a very pointed conversation to say it politely within the confines of a public meeting.
Yeah, I do understand engineers do make mistakes at times, but this one, we probably need to have a little harder discussion on. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, that motion carries. Number 7, let's go to Department and Officers Report, Jesse.
Yes. In that same vein, with regards to Cedar Drive, engineering technician, Steve Block, myself and Director Thomas have been in regular contact with the resident on the very south end of the Cedar Drive, Mr. Lemke. That said, we are continuing our ongoing discussions to ensure his drainage concerns are addressed. So that has been an ongoing effort, even in Director Thomas's absence. I have walked the site. I've met with Mr. Lemke in person. Mr. Block has met with Mr. Lemke on site. And so we are continuing to work through and make sure his drainage concerns are addressed with that project. So just a lot of effort there to make sure that communication line is open and stays open despite the upheaval at the staff level, if you will. The North Shore Academy of the Arts, we will look to finalize the abandonment of a stack. So as you recall, there was a very hard rainstorm and an abandoned chimney stack. The driving rain did make its way in there and cause some damage within a tenant space. We are going to remove and close over that abandoned stack this week. That is on the Public Works schedule. There, they had done minor repairs immediately following the rainstorm, and we've had rain since. There have been no complaints. That said, we do want to remove that stack and patch it over in a more thorough manner to ensure there are no further infiltrations. The United States Postal Service, we are continuing to work with them. It has been an uphill climb. With that, they claim they have reached out to a landscaping company who said, sure, they can come in and fix it, but not until next spring. We said not good enough, so we do continue to work with them to get that cleaned up. It is a bit of a chore, but we are pretty adamant at a staff level to make sure that that does get addressed. Those are the updates I have this evening for the board.
Very good. Let's go to licenses, approval of issue of operator's license. I'm looking for a motion to approve the issuance of operator's license as presented.
So moved.
Any discussion?
Yeah.
Uh,
Chief, maybe you could answer this, like, how often do bars get monitored for licensing the bartenders?
They're required to renew every year, annually each one, and then every time they get a new bartender, they're required to come to the office and get the permit.
I mean, what if there's a bartender in a bar without a license?
Then we need to know about that. That would help us.
There does just need to be a licensed operator on the premises. Not
There,
every
what's that?
bartender,
I'm sorry.
not every bartender needs a license.
Okay.
There needs to be a licensed bartender on the premises.
Oh, and then anybody can.
That's right.
Okay.
One operator. one
Okay.
person.
And they're good for 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm good.
You're good?
Thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, let's see that there was a considerable amount of back and forth about the report of the bills here. I'm looking for motion to approve the bills as presented.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion, questions that weren't answered?
Just one quick clarification question.
Clark?
So Jesse, you mentioned for the graphics on the zero turn mower, so it's placed on the vehicle. Is that on the mower itself or on a vehicle that transports the mower?
It's on the mower itself. We do have graphics that identify our machinery as such. So it would, yes, be on the truck, the DPW truck, but it would also be on the mower as well to identify it as ours. Yep. Sure.
Very good. Motion in a second, all in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. And now we'll look to convene into closed session here pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 19.851E for real estate competitive bargaining matters pending sale 887 North Green Bay Road. I need a motion and a second.
Make a motion to convene closed session.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
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 We'll move to closed session.